Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are still speaking about the museums in Egypt, and actually Egypt have a large number of museums distributed in several governorates and especially in Cairo. But there are also a new kind of museums, which is the open museums we have in Cairo, in Old Cairo. If you go, for example, to the El Mu'izz Street, you can find yourself in an open museum. There are monuments everywhere through this street, and long ago this street, El Mu'izz Street, was called the Great Street. It was the main street in Old Cairo, and the state have made renovation and restoration work for this street especially. Now we can see on screen the steps of building the Grand Egyptian Museum, and also photos from several museums built in Egypt. And this is the steps for building the Grand Egyptian Museum, which is Egypt's gift to the whole world. It is really established in a very unique way, and it encompasses a large number of pieces that could exceed 60,000 pieces. And there are some analysts who say yes. So, well, to shed more light on this, we have the pleasure to have with us over the phone our dear guest, Mrs. Yomna Salama, tourism expert. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Well, Mrs. Salama, if we speak about the museums in Egypt, we can see that recently we have several museums distributed in several governorates. The state is not only concentrating on the museums we know as the Egyptian Museum, the old one in Tahrir, all the museums in Cairo, but there are several museums distributed all around the governorates. So what's your comment on this? We have in Sharm el-Sheikh museums, in El Minya, in Port Said, in Kafr el-Sheikh, everywhere.
Yes, that's true. We are currently considering our museums a culture hub and not just a museum. So we have several museums all over Egypt, from north to south, and still we are in the process of the preparation for the Grand Egyptian Museum.
Yes.
And our target is to have culture centers and culture hubs everywhere in Egypt. That will enhance and will raise the awareness about museumology and also the Egyptian civilization with its richness and its variety. And for example, when we talk about specialized museums, we have the small museums, but they are specialized about one thing, like the museum in the Ismailia Governorate, talking about the history of the Suez Canal, teaching the Egyptians that the first idea to link the Red Sea with the Mediterranean Sea was not actually by Ferdinand de Lesseps, as we might have learned in schools. It was an ancient Egyptian idea from the time of the great pharaohs and during the time of King Senusert the third. So such museums are culture hubs, and specified, some of them specifies to talk about one event or one site, and some like the Nemec, for example, talking about the civilization of Egypt from 37,000 BC all the way to the modern history of Egypt.
Yes, also the museums of the Museum of the Carriages in Bulaq here in Cairo, and also the railway museums. These are specialized museums. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. So, Mrs. Salama, concerning the Grand Egyptian Museum, which is Egypt's gift to the world, now it encompasses a large number of pieces, of course, that could exceed 60,000 pieces or more. And it's also encompassing the pieces of Tutankhamun and King Ramses II. So, give us an idea about the importance of this.
The museum, the Grand Egyptian Museum, known as the Gem, as you said, that's Egypt's gift to the world. This museum is very unique indeed because one of the main themes of the museum is talking about kingship. And when we talk about kingship, how the king would become a king, what is the idea of kings in ancient Egypt? Is the king representing God on earth? Is the king a messenger? Is the king a prophet? Is the king idol? All this about the kingship idea in ancient Egypt is going to be highlighted and explained at the Grand Egyptian Museum. When we talk about kings, of course, we cannot forget the young pharaoh, the golden pharaoh of Egypt, King Tut. For the first time in history, the world will see the complete King Tut at the Gem. Since 1922, the complete artifacts of King Tut were not displayed. So for the first time, the world is going to see the complete King Tut, and that's another gift that Egypt is giving to the world, to see the complete Tut. In addition to that, the museum now already has its trial visits, and it's already used as venue for many important international and national events.
Yes, I thank you very much for your time. I really had the pleasure to have this phone with you. Thank you for your valuable information, Mrs. Yomna Salama, the tourism expert. Thank you very much for joining us over the phone. And with this, my dear viewers, we come to the end of this episode. My name is Amal Mukhtar. Thank you for watching.